This is the story of Eddie Bready, the pimp shrimp that ran Mariana's Trench. He was the king of the shake junt. Down in the marina where the water turns purple from chemical runoff and neon never fully shuts up, everybody knew the name Eddie Bready. About known. Eddie was a shrimp. He was built like a prize fighter and dressed like a casino manager. Pink shell polished, gold chains floating around his neck, and a fedora that somehow worked underwater. His eyes could see through every wavelength of light, which means he could literally see the bullshit before it even happened. And he managed Mariana's Trench. That's the most famous shake junt under the sea, man. Owned by the elegant and commanding Tease. It's not a bar. It's not a club. It's a shake junt. Mariana's Trench sat carved into the sunken trench wall like a glowing wound. Rotating jellyfish lanterns, broken submarine hulls turned into VIP booths, old pirate cannons repurposed as speakers for miles. Sailors on the surface blamed earthquakes. Inside, the dancer rolled the tides, though. There was Allie Catfish in the bar chewing gum like she was considering murder. And Betty Twerkit, a beta fish, in a permanent glitter cloud spinning fans like of silk and smoke. And upstairs, in a velvet booth, the queen herself, Tease, that flapper manatee with eyes lined in the starlight, sipping rum from a teacup that cost more than some small nations. And in the back office, Eddie Bready, he was counting the money. The office door was reclaimed submarine hutch with the word management scrawled into it by a drunken swordfish year ago. Inside, piles of shell coin floated in neat stacks. A screen showed every corner of the club, and Eddie sat behind a desk made from a ship's rudder, tapping one claw on the clipboard. Tuesday's numbers are low, Eddie muttered, but the vibes were immaculate. Crank, the lobster henchman, nudged the door. Manager, Sheldon's here. Eddie sighed. Of course he is. Sheldon Cosworth, a banking magnate and a sentient clam, rolled into the club on a monetized pearl throne with 2 eel bodyguards and a suitcase of bad intentions. Mara didn't even look at him at first. Sheldon cleared his throat. My dear Mara, I trust business has been fruitful. Mara sipped. Define fruitful. Eddie appeared beside them, keeping Sheldon in check. Sheldon, you're blocking the dance floor. I bring investment, Sheldon said. You bring pressure. Eddie replied, and this pressure is not welcome here. Sheldon smiled. I'm merely concerned about the future of this establishment. Eddie leaned down until his compound eyes filled Sheldon's vision. The future of this establishment, he said softly, is Mara's, and I make sure it runs. A long pause happened. The music swelled again. Betty twirled silk. Allie cracked a smile at some drunk shark, and Sheldon backed off. Business continued as normal. Later, after closing, Eddie stood alone on the balcony overlooking the trench. Bioluminescent plankton drifted past like slow stars. He lit a cigar made up of dried kelp of memories. Crankit approached. Manager, why you keep doing this? Eddie didn't answer right away. Finally, coughing up. Because somebody has to keep the lights on in the dark parts of the ocean. Below him, Mariana's Trench pulsed. Alive, loud, impossible. And Eddie Bready, that pimp shrimp manager, was at its center. By Thursday, the water felt wrong. Not storm wrong, not predator wrong, business wrong. Eddie could taste it in the current, When he drifted into the club, the plankton weren't glowing the same. The jellyfish lanterns flickered a half beat behind the music, and the bass thumped like it had something on its mind. Inside, the crowd was thick. Whales brushing shoulders with seahorses, swordfishes in silk coats, octopi wearing sunglasses that they didn't need. And Alley Catfish held court at the bar, tattoos glowing under the blacklight, collecting rumors with every drink she slid. Betty Twerkit rehearsed behind the curtain, spinning fans of silk and smoke. Her movements were hypnotic. And Mara watched from her booth, eyes sharp and mind 10 moves ahead. Eddie floated through it all, the current owed him money. Crank intercepted him with an old torpedo jukebox. Manager, we got a problem. Eddie didn't so. We always got a problem. What's the flavor of the night? Crank leaned in. 3 new joints opened on the lowest shelf. Same layout, same lighting, same music rotation. Eddie stopped. This didn't happen by accident. Who owns them? Crank hesitated. Don't know. Nobody's claiming. That was worse. Down the trench wall, 2 miles south of the first of the new club's post, its sign glowed deep current in hard blue letters. No personality, no soul, just money. Inside, drinks were cheaper, dancers were new, music loud and empty. Sharks crowded the bar, already drunk on novelty. He hovered outside the entrance, watching copycats, he muttered. Mara joined him. They're not copying, they're replacing. Eddie's eyes shifted through the invisible colors. Who funds this? Someone who doesn't want a face, Mara said. Allie's voice crackled through Eddie's combead. Madge, Sheldon just booked the entire VIP floor for tomorrow night. Eddie closed his eyes. The pieces clicked. Sheldon was hedging his bets. That night, Eddie convened in the inner circle with Mara, Allie, Betty, Crank, and himself. They're squeezing the market, Eddie said. Prices, music, dancers, flow. They want us off balance. Allie crossed her arms. Then we outshine them. Betty nodded. I can pull new routines, bigger, wilder. Mara stared at the floor. This isn't about dancing. Eddie looked at her. They're testing your control. Mara said, if you crack, they move in. Eddie smiled. The trench don't crack. Outside, the base of Mariana's Trench was higher and stronger, more defiant. The current turned, but the crew still held their crown. Neon currents. And Friday came in hot. The trench was alive. Every creature could feel it. Alley Catfish owned the bar like it owned her money. Every patron eventually told her some rumors and secrets. Who was moving what? She leaned close to Eddie. Deep currents pulling in corporate sharks. Heavy ones. Eddie nodded. That don't get the ecosystem. Betty Twerkit debuted her new routine. Silk ribbons spiraling in like living neon. Fans snapping open in perfect rhythm. And the crowd felt silent. Hypnotized. Mara watched from her booth. Memories rising. She remembered the trench as it cracked. Wreck and dream. Eddie had found her then, sitting on a rusted anchor. You don't belong in the dark, he told her. She laughed. Then build me something brighter. So he had. Later that night, Sheldon arrived, bringing investors, eels, groupers, and cold-eyed tuna. Eddie joined him. Sheldon, you playing both sides of the reef? I'm protecting my interests, Sheldon said. Your interests swim in the trench, Eddie replied. Sheldon smiled with a hint of respect. You always liked the deep end. Music thundered. Betty finished her set, and Allie slid Eddie a drink. Mar raised a glass. The trench was winning the night. Burned in the dark. That currency of noise was coming, and Saturday night hit like a tidal wave. Mariana's Trench was packed to the coral, every booth full, every bar rail lined 3 deep. The dance floor was a living organism. Eddie stood at the center, calm as the eye of the storm. Deep Current had tried price cuts, poaching dancers and bribing current controllers. Eddie didn't panic. He answered with noise. "Turn it up," he said to DJ Crap All Good. The sound rolled through the water like thunder. Betty unveiled a new routine. Part dance, part ritual, part controlled detonation of beauty. The crowd surged. Crane rushed in, antenna shaking. "Manager, Deep Current cut their power." Eddie raised up. "They declare more." He opened a comm channel. "Everyone drinks on the house for an hour." The crowd exploded. Deep Current's remaining customers fled. The trench prevailed. Getting into the deep water deals, the trench was quiet. Too quiet. Eddie floated in his office. Messages flashed across his combrade. Regulators, distributors, shipping captains, everyone smelled like money and danger. Marge owned him. "They're mobilizing." Crank entered with a data slate. "The clubs aren't the problem. Blue Meridian Holdings is behind it. They own currents, shipping lanes, and regulators." Eddie's eye burns. "Then we fight like a city." He met Sheldon in a private reef chamber. "Manager, you're in over your shell," Sheldon said. "I'm defending a kingdom," Eddie replied. They aligned, creating an alliance against a corporate takeover. The long tide came. By midweek, the trench was taut with tension. Regulators circled, power flickered, and the Blue Meridian's clubs multiplied. Engineers rerouted base through pipelines. Smugglers brought bioluminescent coral. Betty dazzled. Allie coordinated bar fleets, and Mara negotiated shipping guilds. The trench became a movement. Eddie and Mara and Sheldon watching the Long Tide Festival unfold, the largest underwater music gathering ever. Blue Meridian's clubs emptied, investors panicked, and the city decided. Eddie stood as the crowd drifted home. "We survived," he said. They were still standing. Weeks later, the trench hummed perfectly. Mariana's Trench was stronger than ever. The neon burned bright, bass rolled deep, and currents pulsed smooth. Eddie perched on the balcony, fedora tipped low. Mara stood beside him. Betty stretched her fins like a comet tail, and Allie leaned against the railing. Sheldon observed quietly. Crank clacked his claws vigilantly. Eddie exhaled. "Everyone wants a kingdom. Most will die chasing it. We didn't just survive, we built one." Mara smiled. "Alive and thriving." Allie raised a glass. "To survival." Betty said, "To the trench." And Eddie raised his claw. "To the rhythm of the ocean." Below, the crowd roared in unison. Mariana's Trench wasn't just a club, it was a legend. And Eddie Bready was that manager. He was the pimp shrimp, the heart of the trench. Stood unshaken, still alive, still thriving, and unstoppable.